Hi guys, I hope you're all keeping well and safe. Welcome to Early Years Matters TV. On this channel, we focus on everything early childhood related. And if these are the kind of videos you're looking for, what you have to do is subscribe. And not just subscribe, turn on that notification bell so that whenever a new video is being dropped on this channel, you'll be the first person to be notified. Today, I'm going to be going through some early childhood care and education job interview questions you're likely to be asked. And not just these questions, I'll be providing answers as well to guide you. Perhaps you are that early childhood educator, an emergent early childhood educator preparing for that preschool teacher job interview. Yes, I know it's a new year. Perhaps you are that early childhood educator, you're thinking of forging ahead, changing your job. Perhaps maybe you want to move closer to home, want to change your location, or you are that emergent early childhood educator straight out of college, applying for jobs and you've been called for that job interview. I know how it is, especially for a first timer. This is your first time going for a job interview. Don't worry, I'm here to help you. Just take note of all these questions with answers and go through them, and I tell you, you're going to ace that preschool job interview. Now, let's get straight to the point. The first question you're likely to be asked is, tell me about yourself. Yes, this is a question that the employer tends to ask to make sure that applicant is a bit relaxed. Yes, they start by asking this question to make it to be a little bit at ease before they dive deep into the main question. Yes, but one thing I'll say to you is when you're being asked, tell me about yourself, it's not a question to go personal about your life history. No, nobody is interested about your personal history. When the employer asks you, tell me about yourself, it's not a time to tell them, oh, I'm the first in the family, I have 5 siblings, we're 5 in our family. No, tell them about yourself in relation to the job that you applied for. So you could start simply by telling them your name, interest. I know you might be wondering, they've seen your CV. You need to understand that they got lots of CV. Although, yes, they might know you, but it's also important that you start by introducing yourself, telling them your name. So you start by telling them your name and then dive straight into the qualification that you have that made you to be qualified for the job, the preschool education. So talk about, for instance, I'm going to use Ireland as an example because this is where I'm based. So for instance, if I want to introduce myself, I can start by saying something such as, my name is Florence Ajala. I have a degree in early childhood care and education. For the last 5 years, I've been studying in the area of early childhood to equip myself for the role as an early childhood educator. So can you see that you're telling your future employer that, yes, for the last 5 years, you've been in the area of early childhood. You've been studying to equip yourself for this role. So can you see that you've asked that first question of tell me about yourself? So tell me about yourself. You told them your name. You told them the qualification that you have, the CPD courses that you've done that ensure that you're qualified for this role. So it's important when you're being asked, tell me about yourself. It's not personal. They don't need to know about your family. It's not a personal question. Don't go into personal details about yourself. Tell them your name. What qualification do you have? CPD, experience that you have that relates to the job that you applied for. So that's telling them about yourself. That's the first question they're likely to be asked. The second question is you'll be asked is, can you identify some of the skills and quality that is needed for this role? Yes, they want to know that you know what it entails to be an early childhood educator. You know what it entails to be a preschool teacher, that you know some of the skills that is required. If you're being asked this question, some of the skills that you should be talking about is empathy. Empathy means the ability to put yourself in people's shoes, the ability to put yourself in the children's shoes, in the parents' shoes. So you need to talk about empathy as one of the skills. You need to talk about patience. This is important as well. That as an early childhood educator, it's important that you're patient. It's important that you're kind. It's important that you have no judgmental approach. Important that you're a good communicator, that you're a good listener. So these are some of the important skills that you should be talking about. Talk about that you're a great team player as well. This is important because in your role as an early childhood educator, you'll be working with people. You'll be working with multidisciplinary team. And they want to know that you're that person that loves. As an early childhood educator, one of the skills is you need to be a great team player. So these are some of the skills that you should be mentioning when you're being asked to identify the skills and qualities needed to work as an early childhood educator. You're likely to be asked is, how do you plan for children's play? This is really important because in your role as an early childhood educator, you're going to be planning. So they want to ensure your employer wants to ensure that you know what it entails to plan for children's play. So here you should be talking about observation first. That observation is the key. That you're not just going to go around thinking, well, they are 3-year-old. Well, you just gather them and you read them a story. That's not how to go about it. Observation is the key. It's all about observing the children. So tell your future employer that in relation to planning for children's play, you start by observing the children. Then through observations, you'll be able to find out what the children like, their dislike. And this is going to help you in terms of planning for the children's play. I'll tell a question of how do you plan for children's play? Because they want about observation. They want you to talk about how do you go about planning for children's play? So also talk about in relation to planning for children's play as well. You're going to be consulting with the parent, asking the parent questions about their children's likes and dislikes. I'll tell you, if you tell your future employer this, they know that you're taking into consideration the role of the parent in their children's early childhood education. And definitely they know that, yes, you're so much into your policies that talked about parents are the primary caregiver of the young child. Question you're likely to be asked is, identify some policies in the area of early childhood education. Yes, it's important. Lawyer want to know that you know more about policies, that you know policies in relation to early childhood. So go through policies in the area that you're based in relation to early childhood care and education, because you're definitely going to be asked this question. Also, they might ask you another question in relation to policy. They might take, for instance, the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. They might say, what's your understanding about the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child? So here they want to know that you have an understanding of policy. They might not identify some of the policies in early childhood care and education. They might start an instance, okay, tell me what you know about the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. So concerning the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, you can say, for instance, parents are the caregiver of their young child. You take in where the children are coming from, their cultural background. Children should have in matters that concerns their children's early childhood education. So when you tell your future employer this, they know that you know much more about policies, about the UN early childhood care and education. Wrap up, your future employer might ask you this question: do you have any question for us? I know most of the time the applicants just want to rush in. Oh, no, I'm fine. I don't have any question for you. This is a time for you to ask your future employer questions, because for the last 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, they've been asking you the questions. So now it's your turn. So do not shy away from asking them questions. You could ask them questions such as, when are you likely to hear back if you're successful? What engage in professional development training? Do they have any in-house training? At least have one or two questions that you're going to ask your future employer. This is important. I know as a result of stress, don't just say, well, I'm fine, I'm okay. Have at least one question that you're going to ask your future employer. So take it to an emergent early childhood educator preparing for that preschool job interview. I hope I've been able to help with these few questions that I thought that you're likely to be asked. And if you want more of this video on this channel, what do you have to do? Subscribe, and not just subscribe, turn on that notification bell so that whenever a new video is being dropped on this channel, you'll be the first person to be notified. And until I come your way next time, stay safe and mind yourselves for now. Bye.